What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, it's your homie, FuturisticMike. Welcome back to another Better Call Saul video. Now, this is going to be the last Better Call Saul video ever, man, which is very, very sad. I'm super upset that I'm not going to be able to talk about this show anymore, but this is going to be the review for Better Call Saul Season 6, Episode 13, the series finale. That's just crazy to even say that, man. The series finale. This show has been on, for 6 years, and it's just crazy. It's taken so much time to complete and wrap up this entire story, man. We first seen Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad when he got introduced in Season 2, Episode 8, I believe, titled Better Call Saul. And honestly, in Breaking Bad, man, I wasn't that big of a fan of Saul, honestly. To be 100% honest, he was always this side character, and he was a little bit annoying. Whenever he came on the screen, I'm just like, man, Saul is kind of getting on my nerves. But when it goes back to Better Call Saul and we see the events that took place before Breaking Bad and we see everything that happened before, and, we get used to Saul's character, he really grows on you, man. You really end up liking the guy. And you realize that, Saul Goodman is probably the most important character in this franchise, in the entire universe, because he's the one that holds everything together, with Walt and Jesse and stuff. He keeps them clean. He keeps their business going and stuff. So you just realize, man, especially when he's in court in this final episode, that he is the most important character. But it's crazy because Saul Goodman finally gets caught, man. He's in Omaha, Nebraska. He's working at the Cinnabon and stuff, but he was doing some side business with Jeffy. And it turned out pretty bad, man. He got into a bad situation in episode 12. Jeffy had to crash the cab, ended up in jail. And Saul ends up going over to Marion's house. And Marion catches on, man. Looks up some stuff from Albuquerque. She types in con men from Albuquerque or whatever. And Saul pops up, his video and stuff. And she figures it all out. Now, it really seemed like Saul honestly was getting ready to kill Marion, and I was hoping he didn't go down that route, but it looked like he was getting ready to, because he took that phone cord and he wrapped it up. It looked like he was gonna choke her, but Marion wanted him caught. She activated her life support, and she straight up told that Saul Goodman was in her house, and Saul had to go on the run. And Marion said to them, please catch him. So she really wanted him to get caught. Maybe if Saul was a little bit more careful and he watched the things that he said around Marion a little more, she wouldn't have caught on. And she's seen Saul and Jeffy out in the garage doing some suspicious stuff. So that's what made her figure this out, man. Everything was not adding up, and she finally figured out that Gene was Saul Goodman. Saul was on the run for a little bit at the beginning, but then he ended up getting caught. He jumped into this dumpster, and he had some diamonds and stuff. He dropped them in the dumpster, so he was pretty screwed on that. We seen the vacuum company that he was getting ready to call, the company that originally made him disappear, him and Walter. He was gonna call that, but he got caught. The cops knock on the dumpster and say, is anybody home? And they say, come out with your hands up. So yeah, he got caught. He was in jail. He ended up calling Oakley. Now, this would have been the perfect opportunity for Oakley to tell Saul to fuck off, because Saul kind of treated him shitty in the past, but he actually took the case. He went to where Jimmy was at. He was going to represent him. They sit in front of all these people, and they say that Jimmy is going to be doing like 190 plus years. Like, he has all these felonies on him, man, charged with all kinds of different things, money laundering, accessory after the fact, all kinds of stuff. He knew about these murders and stuff, so he's really going down. And then we see Marie Schrader come in there, and I was so surprised to see her, man. I didn't think we would see her again. Honestly, it was shocking. It really was. I'm just mad we didn't get to see Skyler. I thought at any moment they would be bringing in Skyler White too, but it didn't happen. We just seen Marie, and she is beyond upset, man. She is furious. She tells Saul when they're in that room that he deserves whatever is coming to him. She said no matter how much time they give him, wherever they put him, nothing will ever be enough. She said, Hank Strader was the best agent. He was the nicest person ever, and he would do whatever for anybody, which is true, man. Hank was a great person. But Saul goes on to tell this story about Walter White, his introduction to Walter White. He said that this guy named Mayhew wanted to pay him and he declined, but when he left his office that night, he was kidnapped by two men. He said they put a bag over his head, and when the bag came off in the desert, he was kneeling in front of an open grave. And he just said this was his introduction to Walter White. He said the only reason why he did it is because he was scared. He made a lot of money, but he was always terrified. And I'm thinking to myself like, damn, man, Saul is good, man. He came up with this out of nowhere. I mean, it is the truth. He did get kidnapped by Walter and Jesse, but he's doing whatever he can to try to get out of this situation. He's trying to come out on top at the end of all this. And he said all he needs is one person on the jury to believe him, and he's good. And Marie said, don't you even think about negotiating with this man. But he got them down to 7.5 years or something like that. And then he tried to go on and say, look, I need a pint of ice cream every Friday or something like that too. Like, this man was really going on and on, trying to get them to go lower. And then he tried to sell them, the Howard Hamlin thing. He was going to tell them what happened to Howard and stuff. But little did he know, Kim already went and told everything, so he couldn't sell that to them. And they said, that's it. I don't want to hear anything else. Do we have a deal, or are we going to trial? And Oakley said, no, we have a deal. So yeah, Saul was trying to get the best deal out of everything. Of course, man, we're talking about Saul Goodman here, the finesser, the true finesser, man. But I really felt bad for Marie in this scene, man. It was heavy, seriously, because she's a victim along with Skylar and everybody else involved, man. They're all victims. Now, when we see Kim, she goes into this Central Florida attorney place and she wants to volunteer and stuff, man. She wants to start doing things, that feel familiar again, because this is where she feels at home, being a lawyer and stuff like that. She's over here working at this sprinkler place and she's living this life she's not used to. I mean, of course she's used to it by now, but she's always known something else, man. She's always been in this lawyer world and she kind of wants to work back to that, you can tell. But she gets a call from Susan, and Susan tells her about Saul and stuff. And on the phone, Susan told Kim that, Saul might be testifying against her and stuff. But of course, Saul lied to everybody just to get Kim in the courtroom. He wanted Kim to hear everything. Now, the courtroom part of the episode is the heavy part of the episode. It's a crazy scene, man. A very great scene, very well written and everything. You can tell in this scene that Saul actually has a conscience. Like, he felt bad about everything and he actually just went up there and admitted everything. He told the court exactly what he did, how he laundered money, how he knew about all the murders and stuff. He said he never cooked the meth and he never seen the murders take place, but he knew about everything. He said Walter White would not have been Walter White without him. He said he was indispensable and he ran everything pretty much. He said the operation could not go on without him. And he tells the court that he lied, about Kim being involved in Howard's murder just so Kim would come there. And then he also talks about Chuck. He says how Chuck is the greatest and most smartest man he's ever known. And then he says what he did to Chuck. And then he said Chuck killed himself. So he was just feeling bad about his brother. And he admitted everything to the court. And this got him many years in prison, man. He did not get the 7.5 years that they told him he would get. He got way more than that. Just because he was honest and he told everything. He admitted to all of it. We also got a scene with Walter White in this episode. There was no Jesse Pinkman. We got Jesse Pinkman in the last episode, but we got a scene with Walter White. And this was the scene, when they were in that basement and they were getting ready to go and start their new life and stuff. Walter and Saul had to spend the night together in this little room. And Walter, he's trying to fix something because he figures if he's spending the night in this place, he wants to have hot water and stuff. And Saul starts to talk about how, if you had a time machine, what would you do? And Walter's like, are you serious? A time machine? That is impossible. And we know, Walter knows his shit. He knows his science and all that. So he knows what he's talking about. But he's like, look, if you just want to ask about regrets, then just ask about regrets. And it's crazy, man. He brought up this gray matter thing, the company that he started with Elliot and Gretchen and stuff. And it's crazy hearing about that because he regrets that deeply, because if he would have done some things different, he would have been part of this company. He would have been very successful, probably a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. And he wouldn't be in all this mess. And most importantly, he would have survived too. And that's exactly what he said to Saul. He said, if I would have did all that, I wouldn't be in this basement with you right now. And Saul talks about something that he regretted too, but he didn't say anything, about his brother, with Kim, none of that stuff. He said something very stupid. I thought he could have said something different that he regretted, but he didn't. And Walter said, oh, so you've always been like this. And that's pretty much the end of that scene. And then we also see a scene with Jimmy and Chuck, and it's sad seeing this, knowing what happened to Chuck. But Jimmy really did care for his brother Chuck, man. He took care of him for a long time. And then they had their disagreements and stuff, and they didn't talk. But you can tell Jimmy really did care about Chuck. I'm glad they brought him back one last time. Now, we didn't see Gus in this episode, but we did see Mike at the beginning of the episode. And he also talked to Mike about a time machine. Mike says that, he would go back to, I think it was 1981 or something like that. He said that's when he took his first bribe. So he just would have done everything different. And he said, I would have checked up on some of my people, in like 5 years to make sure they were okay. But when they were in the desert, man, Saul straight up wanted to take that $7 million that belonged to Lalo and split it with Mike and dip out. But Mike says, no, there's some dangerous people out there that would be looking for us. But Saul didn't even care, man. He just didn't want to be a part of this. This was also the scene where Saul was drinking his own pee. Remember that? I guess they ended up finding this big thing of water and he dumped out that pee and filled up his jug. But yeah, he was drinking his own piss. That's how crazy it got out there in the desert with Saul and Mike. We see Saul on the bus getting ready to be, transferred to prison. And everybody noticed him, man. Everybody started chanting Saul's name, saying better call Saul and stuff. And it's crazy. He wanted to go to a different state to go to prison or whatever. It's a good thing he didn't. Because I don't know if Saul Goodman would have did well in prison. He can talk his way out of anything, but can he fight though? But it seemed like, where he was going to prison in Albuquerque, everybody loved him. They were chanting his name. Seemed like he got along with everybody inside of there. He was making bread in prison. He got along with everybody. Then his lawyer was supposedly there to see him, and it was Kim. Apparently, she still had access from a while ago, but her and Jimmy, they smoke a cigarette like old times in the parking garage. And she says you had them down, to 7.5 years or whatever. And she said, now you're in here for 86 years. So he got hit with some time, man. He's not getting out. He's in his 40s right now or 50s or something like that. When he gets out, he'll be like 130 years old. And he definitely won't be alive at that time. But he did say with good behavior. So I don't know if there's a chance of him getting out or not. But 86 years is a long ass time. And, he's stuck in there. There's nothing he can do. Maybe he shouldn't have opened his mouth in court. But it's all said and done now, man. We know what happens to Saul Goodman in the end. Walt, he dies. Jesse, he's still out there somewhere. And Saul, he's locked up. They always say in this life, you get out of it dead or in jail. And Walter, he died. Saul went to jail. And Jesse's just out there. Jesse's not doing too bad, but eventually he's going to get caught or die as well. That's just what's going to happen. I wish we knew what was going to happen to Jesse. Maybe they'll make something and show us sometime in the future. But Saul, he was doing good for a while. He was making it in Omaha as Gene, but it finally caught up to him. And now he's locked up. Then we see Kim walking out of the jail. Saul's just standing there in the courtyard. And he does this thing with his hands like with a gun. And then he blows out the smoke. And that's the end of the episode, man. You see Kim walk off and that's it. That's the end to a great series, man. I think it couldn't have went any other way. I think they ended this so perfect, in my opinion. The writing was great. The acting, everything about this episode was so perfect. It was on point. Honestly, it ended exactly how I thought it would. I knew Saul was going to get caught eventually and be put in jail. I just knew it. I did think there was a chance that he could die somehow too, but yeah, he's in jail, man, for almost 100 years. So he's probably not going to see daylight again, which is crazy, man. It's sad, but he did do some crazy stuff to a lot of people. Then at the end of the episode, we see this little thing come on where it's all the actors talking for a minute, saying thank you to the fans and stuff, saying that this wouldn't be possible without the fans. They put in all this work, this amazing work because of us. And yes, the fans love you guys. Thanks for all the work you did, on Better Call Saul, on Breaking Bad. We appreciate it, man, because you guys brought us some great TV. Like, honestly, man, Better Call Saul is one of the best shows that I have ever watched. But I really, really enjoyed it, man. I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. Honestly, I don't really give many shows, a 10 out of 10 for any episode. Like, it has to literally be perfect for me to do that. And this episode was perfect. It couldn't have been done any better, honestly, man. But I enjoyed it. I want to know what you guys think. Comment your thoughts down below. What did you think about this series finale? The last episode we'll ever see of Better Call Saul. Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. I would say I'll be bringing you guys more Better Call Saul content in the future, but that's not going to happen, man, unfortunately. But if they do bring something back in this universe, I definitely will be talking about it with you guys. I can't wait to do that if it happens. Maybe I'll do some Breaking Bad videos in the future. Maybe I'll rewatch the series and review some stuff on that because I don't have any videos on that. So maybe I'll do that. Let me know what you guys think of that idea. But for now, this is it for anything in the Breaking Bad Better Call Saul universe. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and smash the notification bell so you can never miss a video. If you guys want to donate to the channel, I got links below to the PayPal and Cash App accounts. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me get out of here, y'all. It's your boy FuturisticMike, and I'll talk to you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.